when you get interested in apologetics, you do have to figure out what is your calling, what is your engagement going to be. So if it tends to be at quite a general cultural level, and you're not necessarily having very detailed conversations with people about certain things, there may be things that you're personally interested in, but you want to find a way to engage with those broader cultural issues about meaning and significance and identity and purpose. And a more broadly based general program, which I mean everyone should do something like that probably anyway, about learning to ask questions and trying to figure out where other people's questions are coming from, trying to hear what people's responses are, why do people respond in a certain way when they hear certain things. That kind of general training is important for absolutely for everybody, and for many people is actually what they require. It's apologetics in that sense. I think when done well is training people how to listen carefully. What are these people? What are people actually thinking? What are they feeling when they say this? Why is it if I phrase something and give them a stock answer, I'm going to get this particular kind of reply? How do I phrase that answer in a different way? So maybe we can get to the heart of what we're meaning to say, rather than what they're assuming has been said, even if it hasn't. Now, depending on the kinds of people who surround you and the kinds of questions that you face, you then have to be prepared to put in the work to try to understand those people's world. So if you're locked into academia, for example, and that's the world in which you have it, and you talk to a lot of people who are of that background, then you're going to have to, if you like, read at a slightly different level. So I think in terms of popular apologetics, there are all kinds of resources out there, and I would say take one that you feel trains you, equips you to practically and effectively communicate the significance and meaning of your faith to other people. If you're something which is you're very interested in, it's still important to read broadly and also responsibly. So I think the main thing is to try to figure out what are the majority voices here and what are the minority voices, which is something that every academic has to do. So someone may have an idea and it may be very, very left field, and it may at some point become mainstream. But if it is very left field and it's something which is highly unusual and sort of a fringe response, if you like it and you love it and that's what you want to give and you're going to read a lot into it, you need to be clear when you're communicating, look, most people would respond this way, but I'm taking it a very different way and I'm going to go that way. Just to flag it up so people think, oh, okay, you're not advocating something which you think is mainstream at this point. You may want it to be, but you may. So making that kind of distinction is very important, and that requires an understanding of the literature in whatever field it may be to figure out actually what I'm saying here is pretty mainstream analysis. Many people would go with it, and to what extent am I actually going with a minority opinion on this, and I'm interpreting this very, very differently. And it will help actually gain with your audience, especially if you're interested in things at a more advanced level, because at least what you're doing is you're demonstrating an awareness of, if you like, the distribution curve of where academic opinion falls on a variety of different subjects. And the further you move away from the mean, I think the more clear you have to be that that's what you're doing. I mean, I wouldn't never want to stop someone doing that. Academic history is a history of ideas that started off by definition in a minority opinion, becoming a standard position until it's challenged by something else. So there is a process by which that happens. So I think pick your field, pick your people, and then try and read broadly across it. And I think someone who is working at an academic level, you can normally tell that they've done their research, because if you ask them a question and say, well, what's tell me about the latest thinking on suffering, they'll go, well, actually at the moment there are 7 different schools, and here are these 7 different things. That's telling you, oh, okay, this person is aware of the field. You can then follow up, well, what do you think? So at the advanced level, I think it's important to be aware of that.